With the January transfer window complete, we're well into the second half of the Premier League season now, but there's still plenty of questions that are yet to be answered. Can Newcastle stay up? Who's going to get relegated? How is Lampard going to do at Everton? How is Gerrard going to get on at Villa? Who's going to finish in the top 4? Are Man City really going to run away with the league? Well, today we're going to try and answer those questions in the only way we really know how, and that is by using Football Manager. Hi everyone, Jake here for FMSCOUT, and as I mentioned in that intro, today we're going to be trying to use Football Manager to predict what will happen with the rest of the Premier League season. To best do this, I've installed a download that shows the Premier League table as it is on the 31st of January. I've also got a transfer update as well, so your new players are at your new clubs, and the table represents what it represents in real life with all the fixtures put in, so it's all representing how it stands in the real life Premier League table. I'll leave the links of the downloads I used for this in the description down below, both of which have instructions on how to install them. But yeah, that's what we're going to use to try and predict the Premier League table. But we're not just going to simulate until the end of the season once. I'm going to do it 5 times and we'll compare the different results we get. And on the 5th simulation, I'll also show your La Ligas, your Bundesligas, your Serie A's, and the rest of it. Now, this download doesn't include the Cup fixtures or the Champions League fixtures or anything like that, I don't believe. Purely the league fixtures in the Premier League and all the other divisions mentioned, amongst many others. So it's not going to be fully representative of what will happen in real life. And of course, this is a game, but I still think it'll be good fun to see what Football Manager predicts will happen with the end of this season. Before we get into the video though, I'd like to ask you guys if you could be absolute legends, hit the like button. It really does help in how these videos perform overall, so that's great for us. You can also subscribe if you haven't already. Over 60% of you watching these videos aren't subscribed, and can you imagine the numbers we'd reach if you all press that button? You can change mine at any point and we'd greatly appreciate it. And finally, if you want to as well, you can find my channel linked in the description. We have one-off Football Manager rebuilds on there, as well as a Wolfsburg save going on, so if you want to check out more Let's Play style stuff, a lot of you guys have came over and said you've enjoyed it, so if you want to come along, that would be great as well. But yeah, as I mentioned, we've got 5 simulations, so let's get on to the first one and see how the Premier League table shaped up. But as we can see currently, Burnley in the relegation zone, but plenty of games in hand. Newcastle as well sitting there with Watford. Now, I have noticed there are a few errors in the table as well, if any of you have picked up on that. So there's a couple of teams who have played 1 match extra or 1 match less, one match more, whatever it might be. And another thing it also has done is reset the player stats. So at the end of the season, the top scorers are probably going to only have like 10, 12 goals because it's not representing the full season and purely just from this point at the end of Jan to the end of the Premier League season. So yeah, let's go and have a look at the first Premier League table and see what we see what's interesting, and let's see if there's any patterns across the 5. Okay, here we are, the end of the 2021-2022 season, and who has finished as the title holders. Let's have a look. We'll go through to the Premier League, and Manchester City have won the league on 100 points. They've completely smashed it. Liverpool in second on 75 points, Chelsea on 73, Manchester United on 71, and Tottenham with a late resurgence getting to 70 points in the Premier League table. We have Arsenal getting 68 points as well, and Leicester then a pretty big chunk behind on 59, with West Ham just missing out on a European place. One of the first few things I'm noticing is Burnley staying up all the way in 14th place. With 42 points, they've got well over the 40-point mark you usually need to stay up. Everton almost getting dragged into a relegation battle. You could say the same about Aston Villa as well, and Brentford starting to get sucked in, but a pretty big distance away from all them teams are our 3 relegation candidates. Newcastle have gone down with 30 points. Despite spending a big chunk of money and looking like they should be able to stay up, they haven't been able to do so. Only 5 wins across the course of the whole season. Watford have finished in 19th place with Quique Setien now as their manager, so I think they've already got rid of Roy Hodgson and gone for someone else. And then Norwich are there on 25 points, rock bottom, 10 points away from safety. It hasn't worked out too great for them, so far we're seeing Newcastle can't stay up, Man City are going to win the league, and Manchester United filled out the final spot in that top 4. Is there anything interesting here? Weghorst getting 8 goals for Burnley. I'm sure that would have been very helpful in their attempts to stay up, so it looks like he has been the most outstanding signing from what we can see. But overall, it looks like there's not too many surprises here so far. You could kind of guess one of Tottenham, Arsenal or Man U were going to get that 4th spot. Man City running away with the league is nothing not to be expected. Newcastle probably the only one you thought they might be able to stay up. But I think Watford and Norwich, a lot of people would have predicted them to go down. I think Burnley are the most surprising here, finishing 14th, a good position for them. A pretty good season overall. Well done to them for staying up, but let's see if they can do it in the second simulation. Okay, it's time for the second simulation now. Don't forget to like this video if you are enjoying, because this is something a little bit different to what we normally do. So any support in that way, letting us know you like it, is greatly appreciated. But wow, okay, that's took me off guard a bit. Liverpool have won the championship on 88 points, 3 points ahead of Man City. It's obviously all gone wrong for Man City after the January window. Maybe Liverpool signing Luis Diaz made all the difference, I don't know. But they are clear at the top, 88 points on the board. Manchester City getting 85. Chelsea only just making a 4th place spot with 20 goal difference over Tottenham, but points were joint between them two. Manchester United coming in 3rd with 74 points is interesting, and yet again it's Burnley surprising everyone, this time on 46 points, coming in 10th place. And can we guess again, is it Weghorst? Yes, he scored 9 goals this time. It seems Weghorst is going to guide Burnley to safety. Aston Villa did a little bit better, Everton getting sucked into it, but more points than before. Leeds coming close to relegation, but I say close, 9 points off the other 3 is a pretty big gap. And again, it's Norwich and Watford going down with Newcastle, the same relegated 3 each time. This time Newcastle finishing with even less points. Their new midfielder Bruno Guimaraes has got a 7.11 average match rating, so it looks like he did pretty well, but he is now wanted by, I guess, clubs aren't, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Brighton, Bournemouth, Villa and Leeds, so it looks like he'll be on the move. It also looks like they've got rid of Eddie Howe with Sampioli coming in as their manager. Who did Watford end up with this time as well? Quique Setien, so it seems like this is the guy that the Watford board are going to go for every time they sack Roy Hodgson. But again, it's the same bottom 3. It's not looking good for them guys, but a big surprise at the top of the table. Let's see what went wrong for Manchester City. Let's have a look. We start in February with this database. So they won a game, won another game, and then they drew to Tottenham. At which point, I can't see where it's really going to go wrong for them. Is it just dropping points every now and then? Has that made a big difference? The only thing I can think then is that Liverpool instead have gone all out and won pretty much every game since we saw them last. So if we go to February, yeah, it looks like they barely lost any kind of Premier League game at all, barely dropped any points in any kind of shape or form. So well done to Liverpool, I suppose, in somehow clawing that back to a league title, but it's the same relegated 3. Can one of them at least stay up in the 3rd simulation? Let's find out. Okay, this is our 3rd simulation, and again, somehow Liverpool have gone and won the league. 82 points this time, so that's even less than before, getting joint top with Manchester City, but smashing them on goal difference. Chelsea only finishing 3 points behind them overall. Tottenham pipping Manchester United to the 4th place spot this time though, only by a point. Arsenal again doing pretty well. Burnley have survived, but it's the same relegated 3. We're going to have a look into more detail in all of them, but the first thing I'm noticing is that Newcastle have finished rock bottom, but have also got a Europa League place, so they must have won a cup competition, so that's going to be interesting for Newcastle, playing in the Championship but having Europa League football. Maybe that'll be enough of a draw to draw in some better talent to get them straight back up. This time they went for Ronald Koeman as the manager after sacking Eddie Howe, but even he couldn't keep them up. And then Watford, again, Quique Setien. Who is this guy and why is he always taken over? I don't know. Norwich, as they might have expected, have been relegated, but very harsh on them because they were 1 point away from finishing 14th or 15th, because Leeds, Brentford and Burnley have only just finished above them, but it was a big gap in the goal difference, which has meant that they can all stay up. Everton have done very well this time round under Frank Lampard, I assume. Yeah, so Frank Lampard did stick around and he did a pretty decent job with them. Aston Villa are also doing pretty nicely in 12th place, but I think the thing I'm most interested in seeing is this Manchester City season. How did it capitulate? Because 82 points isn't a big amount really for Liverpool, let's be honest, but if we go all the way from February, they must have lost every single match this time around. Yeah, okay, I'm already seeing some horrible form. It was in this month of February where they really lost the league and it started to tumble away. And then in March, they only won 1 Premier League game, only won 2 Premier League games in April. It was tough for Manchester City. They really seemed to bottle it. I don't expect them to do it in real life, but interesting that Football Manager predicts that to be so. So that has been our 3rd simulation, 2 left, and yet again it looks like it's going to be really harsh going if you're fans of Watford, Newcastle or Norwich, because every time so far they've gone down as the relegated teams with no real chance of them staying up. Okay, this is the 4th simulation and it's getting beyond a bit of a joke now. Again, Liverpool have got to the title ahead of Manchester City, who looked like they were running away with it, but no, Liverpool have gone and won it again. I can only assume Football Manager isn't rating Manchester City highly, maybe because of a lack of an out-and-out striker. Maybe that's causing them a problem. I don't know. It's very strange that they're not coming top every single time, considering that first season they did get 100 points. Chelsea finishing 3rd and Tottenham pipping Manchester United to that 4th place spot. We have West Ham getting a 7th place finish, Arsenal in 6th. It does seem to be that the big 6 are back as being the big six in this simulation. But for the first time, Newcastle fans rejoice. You've managed to stay up with Leeds taking your place in a relegation zone. Burnley have only just stayed up by 6 goal difference as well, so that's pretty interesting. But it seems Watford and Norwich are almost certainly doomed to go down in Football Manager's eyes, and I'm not sure the fifth simulation is going to change that. Can we see Weghorst? He's got 7 this time. But it does look like Newcastle fans have Chris Wood to thank for them staying up with 10 goals in his time at Newcastle. Let's have a look. 16 appearances, 10 goals. You can't ask for much more from Chris Wood in the second half of the season, and he's already repaid the value to the Newcastle fans just by keeping them up in the Premier League. But we've got one more season. Can Norwich or Watford survive this time? Who knows? Are Liverpool going to win it again? Let's find out. Okay, the 5th season simulation now, and normality has been restored. Manchester City finishing top of the table, as you would expect. Liverpool in second, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man U, Arsenal, and then one of Leicester or West Ham has seemed to be the way that it goes pretty much every time. A good second half of the season for Southampton and Wolves. Everton and Villa doing well too, surviving every single time and pretty much thriving as well under both of their fairly new to the game managers. Burnley have stayed up in 14th place, and it's Weghorst yet again who is the star of the show, this time scoring 16 goals in 19 games. He is genuinely going to be Burnley's best ever player at this rate if he keeps this up. If he manages to do this in real life, I think every single Burnley fan is going to get a Weghorst picture tattooed on their stomach or something, I don't know. But he's managed to keep him up yet again. Burnley, the surprise of all these simulations, I would say, staying up every single time. This time, Watford have managed to stay up, so it seems Norwich are doomed with 5 relegations in 5 simulations. But every time they seem to be the team that's very close to getting out, and again, they've only just been relegated on 35 points, joint 35 points with Palace, who have had a poor second half of the season, and Watford, who managed to get away, but it's a big chunk of goals that they have leaked that has caused them to go down. Minus 47 goal difference, 17 goal difference worse than any other team in the league. Newcastle again going down, and it is Brentford who have finished bottom, which is quite surprising because they've had a real harsh second half to that season. They haven't really been in the relegation battle in these simulations, but now they have gone down in 20th place. So if we have a look at their schedule since February, clearly the game doesn't assume they've strengthened enough. They didn't win a match. No, they haven't won a match at any point from February onwards. So pretty harsh for Brentford, and it looks like that's a continuation of their January form where things have been getting quite tough for them. But there you go, guys. That's what Football Manager predicts is going to happen with the Premier League table. We'll take a look at the other competitions in a second, but first, just to reminisce, Norwich have gone down every time. Newcastle staying up only once. Watford staying up only once. Brentford and Leeds, the other teams that got dragged into that relegation spot. Liverpool and Man City seem to be battling it out for the title, but I think Chelsea have been the 3rd or 4th spot team in every simulation, with Man United and Tottenham battling it out for the other Champions League space. But let's have a look what's happened in the other divisions. Starting with La Liga, Real Madrid have won that comfortably as champions, with Sevilla, Atletico Madrid and Athletic Bilbao finishing in the top 4, with Barcelona in 5th place. So it looks like it hasn't gone too well for Xavi, but it could have been worse, I suppose. Keeping Barcelona in Europe is something, I guess. Serie A has gone all the way down to the wire, with Inter Milan only just beating Juventus to the title by 1 point, who were then themselves only 3 points away from AC Milan. So it looks like that's going to be a contested finale to the Italian League season. Napoli finishing 4th, with Fiorentina getting some European football again. After getting rid of Vlahovic, it seems they've done okay still and have managed to finish in that 7th place spot. Call me shocked, Bayern Munich have won the Bundesliga yet again, this time on 86 points, a big margin away from any competitors. And that competitor was Dortmund on 71 points. Leipzig were then a big chunk away from Dortmund themselves, so it's been a pretty clear run out for Bayern Munich. What about the French league? Did PSG win as you might expect, or did it go down to the wire? Miles ahead of any other club in their division, PSG have stormed it. Is there anything else interesting? Finally, we'll take a look at the Championship, where Fulham, Bournemouth and Blackburn have been promoted through the playoffs, with QPR and Sheffield very close to getting out of the Sky Bet Championship. We had Millwall finishing fairly highly as well. Reading, Peterborough and Derby County unfortunately going down. Reading have gone down due to their points deduction, and Derby without their points deduction would have finished pretty comfortably. What's that going to be? 54 points, so they would have finished up here in like 19th place. So harsh on Derby, but they are down. Harsh on Reading, but they are down. Peterborough looked like they didn't do too great overall, but that's the championship season, and that, guys, is how Football Manager predicts the 2021-2022 season is going to play out. Let me know what you found interesting from the video. Do you think it's a complete load of waffle from Football Manager? Of course, it's just a game, but I like to think that these simulations can be at least slightly realistic, although that Liverpool winning the title 3 times over kind of threw things out a little bit, because I don't think that would happen if you rolled the dice a million times this year, but you never know in football, and that is the beauty of it. Do like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel for more, and feel free to check out my channel, linked in the description. You're all legends, have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.